What is good? Welcome back to another vlog, another windy chat here. I am just finishing up for a morning's lot of work. I wanted to do this quick introduction about what this episode is all going to be about. Because after a lot of the media attention, a lot of interviews and questions, there was the world of, so what are you going to most struggle with? Is it going to be going up the hill, the mountain backwards? Is it going to be coming down the mountain backwards? Is it going to be the 10 days of walking backwards in itself? Is there any particular part of the mountain that you're going to find more challenging than the rest? So in this video, I wanted to highlight some of the concerns, some of the worries, some of the issues that I may have, but the solutions that we've already found to make that happen, as well as introducing you to another one of the sponsors that's been a huge help. So keep your eye out right to the very end to see who that is in my little thank you at the very bottom of today's video. So we've got a lot to get into today, talking about my problems and therefore the solutions of what Kilimanjaro backwards is going to be all about, because I think you might be a little bit surprised about what I find more challenging than the other. Let's go and get into it. So let's get into this. After some of these interviews online and with local newspapers and radio stations, people were bringing up different ideas of, so are you going to find it harder to come down the mountain? And really, for me, walking backwards, which means it's not a totally relatable thing, it's much harder going uphill backwards. With things how your biomechanics are working and the forces of things like gravity, the way up these mountains are a little bit harder. They take out of your knees and your ankles quite a lot. But I'm also doing work around that to make it feel better, feel easier almost. So it's coming down the mountain, which then I find equally as challenging, but for different reasons. So therefore it's a different focus on my session, on my workouts and my preparation to make sure things are happening. But ultimately, it's the preparation of going downhill, and I find that slightly easier and easier to control, easier to manage and progress. The other sides of it, and really the unwritten sides of it, is, as you may have heard me talking quite deeply on 5 Live, we're talking about looking over my neck. This Kilimanjaro trip is going to be, well, 10 days, 8 days up. It's the Lamosho route. It's a slightly easier route to acclimatize to while we're out there. But it's 8 days of going up the mountain and 2 days down, looking over each of my shoulders. Now, things like a GoPro where I can perhaps set this up and look at while I'm walking backwards might help to mitigate some of it. But really, me constantly looking over my shoulders, that's the one thing that is going to be the hardest part about it. I get a lot of neck ache, a lot of pain in through there. So really strengthening the movements of looking over my shoulder and having that flexibility is going to really help make this easier. I will have some people down the mountain, so eye to eye with me, to help direct me a little bit. So I will have some time off, but really walking backwards for hours upon end, not looking over your shoulder, isn't something you want to totally trust, certainly when you're on one of the highest mountains in the world. So that's one thing that lots of people have underestimated, underappreciated, that I will be struggling with. The other one that I kind of goes without saying, but seems more about the struggle physically, is of course the altitude. Now, there's things we can do to help make the altitude better. There's tactics where you're actually physically on the mountain, of going slow, drinking plenty of water, taking some sort of herbal medicines that help things like your blood flow, your blood pressure, your heart rate work in favor of altitude. But really the training, the stuff you've seen me doing out with my runs with Leon, is the most important thing to help build up my ability to absorb, take in, absorb, and transport oxygen. It's called VO2 max. The amount of oxygen I can get in my mouth and to my muscles, and then expelling the carbon dioxide back out as quickly as possible, is really going to help me stay in heart rate zones that are manageable, that are doable and consistent. So really, that is one of the main things. Now, we've got guides there, everyone's going to be looked after. So the altitude, although one of the main things we can't control, is also one of the main things that people are being looked out for. Even going forwards, there is something like a crazy stat of 95% of all failures going up Kilimanjaro is due to altitude sickness. So those sort of numbers are the numbers that we need to be careful of. And with that in mind, we're going to try and prep and build up fitness, and the runs you've seen in some of these vlogs that I really don't feel like in the mood for it, but those runs are helping set and build up my fitness and capacity ready to tackle this and make it as easy as possible. So away from kind of the physical walking of stuff, the skill of backwards walking develops over time. So while I'm out there, I'll physically get better at walking backwards over the course of the 8 days to the summit. But some of the terrain and some of the up and downhill areas we're going to be in are going to be incredibly challenging to both control down the mountain, but also pushing myself back up, being fit for the altitude, and just making sure that my neck is as strong as possible. It's going to mitigate all of those concerns and all of those problems that I've had in the lead up to it. And training's going really well. Things are feeling good. Had one little niggle of a knee injury in a run recently, but realistically has lasted for a couple of days. It's recovered really well. So it just shows where my body and my ability is at the minute. So things are feeling good, positive times ahead, and it's soon going to be Christmas. It's soon going to be the new year, which means we're soon going to be 5 or 6 weeks out of this climb. So the hard work needs to be done now. And really from there, it's the only way is up. How are we all doing, guys? So the thing that I missed out on chatting about a moment ago, where we talked about the problems of the worries of Kilimanjaro, is also where I'm at now is I'm about to take a 2-week holiday to totally relax, recharge. This was booked way before Kilimanjaro was really thought about, really planned in detail. So this 2 weeks is coming in quite a important part of the training. So Leon has got me doing some runs while I'm away, but with also the orders from not only the coach but Leanne to relax, enjoy myself, make sure I'm having a good time while I'm away, which of course is what I want to make sure I'm doing. But when we're looking at training programs and where this 2 weeks coming off is quite an important time, we're looking at 10 weeks out of the trip at the point of recording this video, which when you start thinking 12 to 8 weeks out on an event, it's where you're making some really, really good headway into fitness and improvements. But Leon does have me training. I'll be doing at least 3 runs a week still, so over my 2-week trip, some 6 runs, and the hotel gym, which you'll be seeing in the vlogs, look amazing. So all in all, there's not going to be too much disruption to the training. It's going to be the relaxation, the food, the alcohol. That is way, way more than normal day to day that's going to come into this. And that's the control, that's the challenge of how much do I really switch off to how much do I just keep pushing. And finding that balance is really key, because no one's walked up this mountain backwards, up and down. So here's me gallivanting off on a holiday. It's difficult, but we're gonna go for it. We're gonna relax, we're gonna enjoy the beach. Next time this vlog comes out will be me out on holiday. You'll get to see a few little bits and pieces around the hotel, probably the hotel gym, what my training's like while I'm away, and hopefully it's not gonna have too much detriment to my training. Thank you all again for watching, as course. Please like and share. It does go a long, long way. Subscribe as well if we can. And I'll see you all in Mexico for the next vlog.